B'siyat d'shmaya, let's speak about the world to come. The world to come is a good topic, right? The world to come. What's it going to be like in the world to come?
Shabbos.
Yom Shekuloi Shabbos. Shabbos Kodesh. You know, Shabbos is 1/60th of the world to come. There are those that say if you want to know what your world to come is going to look like, just take your experience on Shabbos and multiply it by 60. Just pshat.
Why 60?
60 is already a taste. It's already a taste of something. I'm tasting something. If I have one part in 60 parts, there's already a taste. It's a me'ain. So it's just a taste of what's coming. So we're taught that the ikr, the main experience of the world to come, is called Daas. Daas. Daas means that I'm connected. I'm connected to God. Now Reb Nachman quotes a pasuk. If you have this edition, on page 68, in the other editions, that one's 68. That kimale haaretz de'es Hashem kamayim liyam mechasim. That the prophet Yeshayahu says that in the time to come, that the entire world is going to be filled with Daas, like water covers the sea floor.
Knowledge?
Where's the first place we see Daas in the Torah? Eitz Daas Toivaran, and we have Odom Yodas Chave Ishtay, and man knew. Odom knew his wife, biblically. He was bonded to her. He was deeply connected to her. So the Daas of the world to come is going to be this deep fusion with God, this unification with God. And it's going to fill the entire world. Like, why does Reb Nachman add that part of the pasuk? It's going to fill the entire world like water covers the sea floor. What do you see from that second part of the pasuk? Just say, in the time to come, the entire world will be filled with Daas.
No part is left uncovered.
So that's what I was thinking also. No part is left uncovered. What I've thought that there would be a part in the world to come that would be uncovered. There'd be a few, shmegegis on the side that would not have Daas of Hashem. That the pasuk is saying, like, come on, liyam, everybody's going to have it. I would have thought that. Yeah, try.
Maybe unknown. Like there's so much we don't know yet.
Like water covers the sea floor. That has any man ever gone all the way down to the sea floor and say that he covered every single bit of the sea floor? Anybody claim that they can?
No.
Does Musk claim that he can do it with AI?
Probably.
Like every spot. I'm just asking.
No. No one claims.
No, we should ask ChatGPT if anybody claimed it. They know every part of the sea floor.
What's the oceans?
Completely understand?
92% or something like that.
The people who tried to go exploded.
Exploded?
Yeah, when the submarine.
To the pressure all the way to the further down you go.
I'm saying with robots and satellites. Even the robots can't get down there? They explode?
Not to a certain point.
They explode?
Implode.
Implode?
Yeah, implode.
Taka? A robot implode? The MS?
You know, having the Titanic.
They don't have a titanium. If a rocket can make it into space, they can't put something down to the seafloor.
There's too much pressure.
We don't have.
5% is unexplored. It's pretty high.
95%. Let's say it's not fake news. 95% is unexplored. So this that Yimalaya Aretz De'as Hashem Kamayim Liyam Mechasim, like water covers the seafloor, which is so mysterious, and there's so much. But is it an accurate comparison? Because can you explore the entire seafloor?
Yes.
Yeah, it's finite. I'm saying it is a finite amount of space. It's a wondrously large amount of space, but it's a finite amount of space. So is that a good comparison to take it to Hashem who is infinite? You could never fully explore all of those depths.
Better example would be like space.
But even space.
Space isn't finite.
How do you know? It has to be. It's
We're just in a galaxy right now.
It's true, but then there's other galaxies. But the sheer fact that there's a galaxy and it's not that galaxy means we've limited it. It is finite. It might be constantly expanding, but it's still a finite space. An expanding finite space. Infinite has no points. Infinite is... When we say that we're going into the infinite in Olam Haba, we're going into an experience with God who is the infinite. There's no finite points anymore. So maybe you'll say it's like a mashal. It's in the way that we treat going into the ocean as if it's this almost infinite amount of space, of mystery, so too in the world to come it'll be this infinite, as if to say, amount of space, of discovery. And I think that Jacob just said it, that maybe Isaac also, that it will be so completely covering. Just so you know, I'm sure he doesn't want me to do this. This is Rav Nachman Fried, and really I'd like him to be giving the shir right now. And he's the one very highly responsible for this entire project of bringing Rav Nachman's Torah to the entire world. So we're drinking from the waters of Rav Nachman, and Rav Nachman Fried is a tremendous koyach. That's to say it lightly. So we're speaking about Yemalia Aretz Daas Hashem Kamayim Liyam Mechasim. And that's going to be this taste of what the world to come is going to be. And we were asking why it added the second part, Kamayim Liyam Mechasim. Wouldn't have been enough just Yemalia Aretz Daas Hashem. It will be Daas. We were talking about the intimacy of Daas, and the connection of Daas, and the feeling state of Daas, and the meditation of Daas. And that Adam knew Chava. They were bonded. You know, Daas has a letter that it's connected to in the Hebrew alphabet. Which letter do you think is the letter of Daas?
Dalet.
Those are all good letters.
Yud.
That's also a good letter. And I'm sure there's ways to connect all that. The simple letter of Daas is the Vav. Is a Vav. Because the Vav is a connector. When you want to say Aaron and Moshe Chaim, so you add a Vav. And that bonds us together. I just said Aaron, Moshe Chaim. We're separate. But you say Aaron ve Moshe Chaim. This is called the Vav HaChibur. The Vav is the letter that joins, that bonds. That bonds. You notice by Sefer Torah is the beginning of the Amids with the Vav. The Vav. Everything is about connection. The Vav HaChibur. The Vav Amudim. Of connecting. That's Das. Also, the letter Vav is taken from Shemayim to Aretz. It's going from the top to the bottom. It's all about connection. That's the Vav. That's the Das. And there's going to be this tremendous connection that we're going to have with the Kadosh Baruch Hu in the world to come. And we spoke about yesterday about the Pu'ulas Mishtanas, is that why do we have to go through darkness? Why does the Das get built through darkness? Why do we have to go through confusion? Why don't we just be in the Das of Achdas HaPashut? Let's just be in the one. Why can't we just be in the one? Yeah, Reuven.
Because we won't know what Das is if we don't experience the low side.
So he's saying if we only had light,
then we would think that's normal.
So Daas is coming out of darkness. Daas is coming out of darkness. From the Pa'ulas Mishtanas, that's how I can fuse a connection.
No, Rabbi, no, Marbury said like everything that's like great, everything that's good comes from a challenge. Everything that you have that's meaningful to you was from like a challenge. So there's like a quote walking up the stairs.
It's only meaningful because I went through something dark first. You wouldn't appreciate, you ever get very, very cold in the middle of the winter? It's very cold in the States right now here. It's very cold, a lot of snow. It's freezing. And you got so cold, chilled to the bone, and then you came in and sat by your fireplace. That moment, that transition, the fireplace is so much more meaningful. So much more. So it's that darkness into light that it becomes more meaningful. I could appreciate it more. I feel connected, appreciative. That's hoda'ah. I'm thankful. Do I have to go through a challenge to be thankful? We're about to see Arba Tzrichim Lahaydis. There's 4 people that are chayiv to say thank you. And at the times of the Beis HaMikdash, they would bring a korban. They'd bring a korban. Who are the 4 people that have to say thank you? Kol HaChaim Yoiducha Sela. Chaim. What's Chaim? What's Ches? Chavish. Chavish. People that were in the Beis Hasurim. All these Yidden that are coming out right now. They would bring a korban toida. That's for sure. They're going to make a goimel. Hashem save them from captivity. That's chavish. That's a tsar. That's a big tsar. That's definitely darkness. What's the yud? Yisurim. Somebody goes through tremendous pain. Somebody who was sick, who gets well. So he was sick, and then he got well. He says thank you. He brings a korban toida in the Beis HaMikdash. Makes a goimel. What's in the other yud? Yam. He crosses the yam. Is it so pasha to cross a yam? Not a pasha thing to cross. We think it's like, oh, it's so easy. Just go on a boat, cross the Atlantic. Not an easy thing to cross. A yam. And what's the mem? Midbar. They went over the midbar. Now,
are these the gomels?
These are the goimels. When you fly, do you make a goimel?
Depends if the plane is about to like.
No, you do. Every time you fly, you say gomel.
Every time, the minhag is every time we fly, we make a goimel.
You don't say tefillah haderech.
You also say tefillah haderech, that everything should be safe. You make a goimel when you get to shul the first Monday, Thursday, Shabbos, and they usually get the Gabba will give you a hagba or something or an aliyah, and you make goimel. Hashem, that you saved me.
Don't they say that flying now is safe in cars? So like,
Oh, that's a great question. So why do I make a goimel? What do you say?
Because you're not crossing over.
You are? I don't know. Coming from America here, you probably cross the Saharan, I don't know how the flight path goes.
Even if you don't cross the
No, say with a car.
you still maybe like you go from like Florida to like the state right up like to Georgia and you're going allowed to?
No.
It's hard built.
Unless you went through a very dangerous situation, something was dangerous, and then you are saved from that danger.
I heard that planes are so safe now that you don't
Oh,
need to.
so that was a famous question in the modern day
There's been
poiskim.
more plane crashes than ever before in the past.
There's more car crashes than plane crashes.
Okay, so it's
So I like what Rav Moshe Feinstein said. Rav Moshe Feinstein said, he said, I'm translating his words into our purposes here. He says, imagine you look up, you ever just seen a plane? You know how high that plane is?
pretty high.
It's 30,000 feet, plummeting through the air, and a little bit of stainless steel, with a bunch of rocket fuel in the back. And you ever look at that thing and you're like, that is unbelievable. You don't think about that, especially in first class. Get a nice bed, and you're good to go. But if you stop and think, I'm literally plummeting through the air at 30,000 feet, you realize that the metzius of that experience is a dangerous thing. We don't think about it. We feel safe. But next time you see a plane, just look. I'm not trying to scare him. Just look, because it is safe. But just look at the plane. So he said it's a mitzias of danger to be flying through the air based on the laws of being 30,000 feet up in a little bit of tin. It's a mitzias of danger. So when you come out of a danger, you say thank you. You say thank you. Do you have to come out of danger to say thank you?
No.
Is that another level of saying thank you?
Yeah. The thank you out of danger. You could also do like thank you out of just like awe or astonishment.
When things are good, you can say thank you.
I'd say thank you out of anything is better than thank you out of danger.
You think it's better?
You're more prone to say thank you if you're in danger.
I don't think there's different levels, but I think it's all the.
Is there a higher level of saying thank you when
I think so.
out of danger, or a higher level that I can appreciate my hands?
Hands. Because you're not pushed to. People have a hard time being thankful when everything's going well for them. It's only when we're in trouble do we feel the need to call out to God. So to have that awareness, even when everything is fine, and just to be appreciative of what you have every day, is a higher level of mindfulness.
So when the Gemara says that Arba tzrichim lahoides, 4 people need to say thank you, meaning you need to say thank you. If you don't, then there's a problem. But it's good to say thank you even if you don't need to say thank you. Let's see what Rabbi Nachman says. In Beis, in the English edition, 68, on the bottom, it's Beis. So he says, Ubechinas toida, to say thank you, Shushashu olam haba, that the pleasures of the world to come, everybody has this, 68 in this edition, that the pleasures of the world to come is saying thank you. Saying thank you is a bechina of the pleasures of the world to come. And now Rav Nachman makes a move, okay? You always have to know when Rav Nachman makes a move, that a move was made, you take note of the move, and we have to then plug in this move to everything that's come before, and everything that's going to come afterwards. So a move is about to happen. V'zeh bechinas halachas. Zeh bechinas halachas. Oh, this is the other Torah. It's also a very good Torah. Oh, thank you, Anna.
Is saying thank you just flat out thank you, or is it deeper than thank you? Is it more than that?
You're saying flat out thank you is deeper than having to say thank you.
Yeah.
What does this all have to do with halacha? That's a move. I would have thought halacha is that you wash your hands in the morning and you tie your left shoe before you tie your right shoe. What does that have to do, like they say, with the price of tea in China? What's the connection of saying thank you and the pleasure of the world to come to learning halacha? Not like I'm trying to pitch that everyone should show up to our Kitzur Shulchan Aruch shir in the afternoon, but I am, because we got to learn halacha, Rabbi said. Okay, Pasha. What's the connection, though, of saying thank you and the pleasures of the world to come to halacha? You should know, learning Likutei Moharan is, as I understand, in my small understanding, supposed to be a very deep meditative experience. That Rav Nachman is speaking, so to speak, and he's giving us space to understand and feel these connections, and to have your own personal connection with these Torahs that are coming from a very high place. And he wants us to take the words that are being said and then feel in to the connections that are being made. That we might never have heard this connection before. That the bechina of saying thank you is the pleasure of the world to come, which we spoke about. Oh, and by the way, that's a bechina of halacha. Halacha is not Toida, and Toida is not halacha, it's a bechina. It means they're deeply connected. They find expression one in the other and the other in the one. So what is the expression and the connection that they feel? What do you feel when we say that halacha is connected to saying thank you and is connected to the world to come? I think on a simple level you could say that, halacha is what gets me to the world to come. Yeah, Isaac?
Halacha means halicha.
Halicha. That's an interesting connection. That the same word for halacha, Jewish law, is the same word for halicha, how you walk. Now, do you mean how I walk in this world, how I'm going to walk in the world to come?
How you walk here so that you can run in the world to come.
That's very nice. I want to be able to run. I want to be able to have, when you run, you're excited about something. There's a lot of halachas that actually talk about running, specifically in regards to Shabbos.
Are you supposed to slow down on Shabbos?
What about for Devar Mitzvah though? You could even run on Shabbos. Yes, you're supposed to slow down on Shabbos, but you're allowed to run. The place can point out that you're allowed to run. You're allowed to run. We find that you should run to shul. If you ever notice Rabbi Shemaiah, when he comes out of his office, he's always like, I don't want to say jogging, but it's always with like a little bit of a gait, he's going a little bit. And there is a marsha that speaks about this in the Chazon Ish, that when you run, the Chazon Ish said that learning marsha takes chomer and it turns it into tzura. Essentially, it takes just chomer, which means just unrefined matter, which we come into the world a bit chomerdik, a bit like unrefined, just like a blob of feed me, burp me, I want to sleep, give me. And tzura means we start refining the Tselem Elokim. We start refining the nature of the human being, that we no longer are just this blob of feed me, burp me, etc., but rather we become refined to have form and shape and a tzura of something special. They say about the big tzaddikim that you only saw tzura and you didn't even see chomer. You barely saw physicality when you would look at them. You just saw a spiritual form. So the Chazon Ish said about learning marsha, that when you learn marsha, it turns physical human beings and turns them into refined tzura.
In what way?
Learn marsha, and you'll see that it stretches your mind and expands you in ways where you see such a refined way of looking at the world that you can't help but feel less, physicality. It's hard to eat like a big fat shawarma lafa while learning a marsha. It's like a shtickle steer to the whole thing. You just can't. It's like, wait a second. I'm going to put the shawarma lafa on the side with all the sauces because you feel so refined to the experience of learning a marsha. So they spoke out that when you run to shul, running to something which is spiritual takes me from being like, I have to drag to get to the desired destination. And all of a sudden when you run, you're going against your physical nature. When you're tired, and you're just like, no, I'm actually going to run to shul. Now you don't have to sprint. I'm not talking about 100-meter dash. But that you push out of your chomer, you push into tzura more. There's a change that happens. So running is a big thing. This whole Torah is also about Shabbos, and we'll get to that in a moment. So halacha, halicha, what other connections do you feel are happening through saying thank you, the world to come, and learning halacha? I'm trying to help that Reb Nachman should be yours, that you can feel these connections. There's no wrong answer.
Maybe it sanctifies everything more, like you appreciate everything more, like saying brachos and then the halachas.
Why meaning that I appreciate. When I make a bracha for sure. Brachas are halachas.
It sanctifies everything. It takes it from just being like a physical inanimate object to something more spiritual.
Saying brachas. What about all halachas in general?
I don't know how it ties into all of it.
What's the question?
The connection between halacha and saying thank you. Or toda.
So everything you do is you take a step back. You like realize Hashem did everything for you.
That's a big thing. Does halacha have something to say about
And
everything?
Be able to do the halacha.
Yes.
Or keep it.
You're saying, I'm thankful that Hashem gave me guidance on how to live every single minute of my life, every single second of my life. What if I didn't have halacha? What does a person do without halacha?
Everybody's thankful.
We're animals.
He's a bit lost, right? How does he know what to do?
He doesn't have a guidebook anymore.
Does halacha limit us
Yeah.
or expand us?
It expands.
It
expands the
seems like it's
Torah.
limiting, but it's probably expanding.
Yeah.
Based on the way I asked the question. What do you say though? Does it limit? From an outsider, what do they think halacha does?
Limits.
They think, oh, you guys, you do all the same stuff. Robots. Are they right? Does it limit?
I think it's limited.
It limits?
Yeah.
It's not limited.
When a person can't smoke on Shabbos,
It's expanding our
is he limited?
spirituality.
Is he limited?
Yeah.
I can't. Bro, you can't smoke on Shabbos. I can. You're limited. So what do we say back? No, you can't not smoke on Shabbos. You're a slave to your Yetzer Hara. I could choose not to smoke on Shabbos. I'm an expanded human being.
Free will also.
If God said not to smoke on Shabbos, I have the ability to make that decision and overcome my base desires. Oh, you can't eat shellfish. No, bro, you can't not. No, I hope you can not eat shellfish because that's not kosher. It's somebody who could say, I'm bigger than that. It's very expanding. You feel big when you have halacha. Now, I understand it might be limiting if it was coming from a finite source. But what if halacha is not finite at all? It's coming from the creator of heaven and earth. And when the creator of heaven and earth says, I want to give you an opportunity to connect to me every second of your life through activating your free will. By activating your free will, you're going to make decisions that are going to be able to have your godly soul overcome your animal base instincts. By doing so, you're going to become the Baal Hashlemus. You're going to activate powers within you. You're going to activate connection to me through connecting to your godly soul. Am I now limited in halacha, or have I expanded myself through halacha? I've expanded myself. Halacha is now a second by second opportunity to fuse myself into God consciousness that I will then have for all eternity. What do I take with me to the world to come?
Your mitzvah.
All the halachas I follow. And the halachas are the halichas. The halachas are all the opportunities that I had my nefesh elikis, my godly soul, choosing God. And Hashem says, you know one of the constant mitzvahs? How many constant mitzvahs are there? You're sitting in Eshet Torah, you got to know about the constant mitzvahs. Very good. And Rabbi Duba got it from?
You.
He even teaches.
Okay. He was one of the early Talmidim. And I got it from
The Torah.
Reb Noach. And Reb Noach got it from?
Hashem.
A lot comes back to Reb Nachman, that's for sure. It's actually in the Shulchan Aruch. It's in the Ber Halacha on the first page. Open up your Mishnah Berurah, page 1. Ber Halacha, who gets it from? The Sefer HaChinuch. Who gets it from? God. That's right.
What it is.
One of the 6. Oh, Adam.
It's also Vav, like you were saying about that.
Very good. It's 6. Vav. Daas. Constant connection. One of the 6 constant mitzvahs is Loi sasuru acharei levavchem ve'acharei neichem asher atem zoynim acharei. Where do we say that? In Shema. Loi sasuru means every second of my life I have a constant mitzvah that I could be pulled after my instincts, I could be pulled after the Yetzer, and the halacha is dictating to me not to stray in that direction, but rather to go where? Towards Hashem. That's a halacha. That means every second of my life, I have an opportunity to fuse myself into my godly consciousness. That consciousness I'm going to take with me to the world to come.
Where do halacha come from?
Halachas come from the Torah. And they come from the Gemara.
But not flat out, right?
Some of them,
Rabbis.
some of them, the 613 categories of mitzvahs from the Torah. The 613 are in the Torah. And then the oral tradition explains them to us. If a breast lover is walking around, he carries 2 Sfarim with him. A Lakutim Aran and a Shulchan Aruch. That's very, very important to know. Yeah? Isaac?
I've always thought of halachos as very like quantitative, meaning the more you do, like the more reward you get, and the higher up you are in Olam Haba. But now I'm starting to wonder, and you can tell me if this is more accurate, that it's more through doing halachos, you get a greater appreciation for Hashem, and that appreciation is all you're enjoying. Meaning it's kind of like a rom-com or something, where they start off like doing something like very practical or this or that, like whatever, and like throughout the movie, like, you know, through constantly giving or doing this thing, they actually come to like really love the person or love the thing. So with halachos, it's not like I did 1.2 million halachos in my entire life. It's like through doing them over time, I realized that it's bigger than just the amount you're doing, or you know, and you just feel like you're more connected. And then once you pass away, you don't even see how many halachos you did. You're just feeling that continued love for God.
I think that's the way to learn halacha. Because I think sometimes halacha could be learned in a dry way. You know, do this and do this and do that.
It's not like a game. It's not like
Yeah.
you get a score at that.
Just this first line. Toida, appreciation, thank you. Pleasures of the world to come. That is a bechin of halacha. Halacha is not is appreciation something dry? Appreciation is the most not dry thing ever. When you feel appreciation, that's not dry. That's so meaningful. When you're lit up with appreciation for someone you love, like Rabbi said before, you're samuch, you're close. If I can't appreciate somebody, am I close to them?
No.
The word that I use, which is, I don't want to say it's a dirty word. It's not. It's like a person's an ingrate. I'm sorry. No, that was like borderline yeshiva standard. An ingrate. You can't say thank you. It's such a disconnect. There's such a lack of Daas if I can't say thank you. I can't appreciate. Appreciation comes from a very rich feeling state. I appreciate. The world to come, is a very rich feeling state. If I can make my halachas filled with those emotions, because that's what halacha is. I have this amazing appreciation that I'm connecting to you every second of my life. And there's a halacha from the moment that a Jew is born, the moment that a Jew wakes up in the morning, till the last second before he dies. We should live until 120 years, until 180 years, b'siyat d'shmai. That's an amazing thing. Halacha has something to say about everything. That you can unleash a connection to Hashem, an emotional state every second of your life. That you're no longer in safek. If you don't know halacha, you're in safek.
Like me and Aaron were learning yesterday, it also has to do with gava. It's like, once you realize you're greater than someone, then you'll get, no, I'm greater than him. But then when you find someone greater than you, then you'll just be like, oh wow, it all comes from Hashem. And
Yes.
And that's why he's greater. And then when we're born, we're perfect. And as we grow, we become less perfect. So we have to try to be as perfect as we were from when we were younger and just appreciate Hashem.
So when we're born, we have an interesting thing. When we're born, there's an element of certain perfection, like it says by Shalom Zachar, that you come and see a baby, tzaddik bala'ir, he's like perfect, he didn't do any affairs. But at the same time also, the baby is just chaymer without surah. The baby is just like a blob. He's a pure taker. And as we grow older, we want to become more like Hashem. We want to become a giver. Especially the way the Rambam explains all of halacha and all the mitzvahs. They're all self-perfection technologies. Every single halacha is perfecting the human being to the ultimate mitzvah, which is halachta b'drachav, to be like God. Daas alakei avicha. To know God, to be like God. That's Daas.
The Goyim have Thanksgiving Day, but we Jews, we say thank you every single day.
B'ezrat Hashem. That's the idea.
Every day is Thanksgiving.
It should be. Now, don't try that when your mother says, you forgot Mother's Day, but Mom, every day is Mother's Day. Don't try that. Make sure you call your mother It's an important one. Yeah, Chad.
They say that you know the whole Torah before you're born.
Yes.
An angel touches like below your nose and you forget it. Do you think tzaddikim, they don't like lose, like they remember every single thing before? Like,
There's such a concept called a yanuka, where the baby does not get hit. There's such a concept.
There's been a
Rav Hamanun Nasaba's son. There's such things that the Zohar talks about. Yeah, but the question arises: who's greater? Who's greater? For you who had to work on this, and struggle through this, for you to struggle to keep the halacha, you've owned that. You become the Baal Hashlemus. Now look at the next move that Rav Nachman makes. Ki halacha shezoichen lilmoid. The halachas that you're zoicha to learn. And then he adds something. Ubifrat mi shezoiche lechadesh behem. And specifically somebody who could be mechadesh. What does it mean to have a chiddush in halacha? What does it mean, a chiddush in halacha? Does that mean that I'm making new, interesting, exotic interpretations of halacha? Making my own halachas?
It's like Sfardig and Ashkenazi halacha.
Okay. Does it mean that I should be learning up the Shulchan Aruch to make new laws?
Does that have the same thing to do with the Chiddush Hashem?
What's a chiddush? What is a chiddush?
Novel idea.
A novel idea. Isn't halacha something that I'm not necessarily supposed to change? Novel usually means something different.
No, but it's the way you apply it.
Okay? The way that I apply the halacha. Meaning, Moshe Feinstein had to deal with electricity and had to deal with cars and many halachas. So he understood that the halachas that we have from the Shulchan Aruch and from the Rishonim and from the Gemaras, those principles could be applied to modern day cases. Not changing the halacha, but finding the principles that are the core mechanics of the halacha and saying that those mechanics apply to today. That applies to today. Lab-grown meat. Does it make you fleshik? Can you have milk afterwards? Thank you very much. Can you have milchiks afterwards?
How does he know he's not changing it though?
What do you say?
That's crazy.
It's meat? You have to wait 6 hours?
I don't think it's me.
Okay, so we have to deal with this. That's a halacha.
It's beyond.
How do we deal with this? It's beyond. Beyond meat. That's what they call these things.
Or impossible.
I mean, anything that's beyond meat already, I think, should concern a person. Well, where are we going? Where are we going with this beyondness? Okay. Al kol panim, we have to know how to apply halacha. That's what Adam's saying. So Rav Nachman does speak about this in Chaim Aran, where he says, when we talk about being machadish in halacha, we're not talking about changing halacha, like coming up with new exotic things. What we're talking about is being machadish tam of halacha. being machadesh feelings of what is the inner meaning of the halacha. Who maybe gave us the ultimate gift of understanding the secret tam, the secret reasons, the secret new ways of looking at what it means that don't work your ox and your donkey together, as we learned with some of the Chevera, the inner meaning of what that means. Oh, what do you mean? Just don't put an ox and a donkey together. That's the halacha. No, what does that mean? Is that talking about Esav and Yishmael? What does that mean? Is that talking about Eitzadat Chevera, Pu'ulas Mishtanas, spinning out of control? Is that talking about genetically modified organisms? Is Monsanto helping the world? The one who gave us the gift was Rav Nosson. He gave us Lekutei Halachas. Lekutei Halachas, you open it up, it's like a Shulchan Aruch. And he's quoting the halachas. And then he says, let me now tell you what's the inner tam, the inner or, the inner light behind the halachas. The halachas were not only meant to make sure you don't muzzle your ox and your donkey together, they were trying to illuminate a whole way of serving Hashem through the halachas, the or of the halachas. So Rav Nachman here, when he says, Befrat, someone who could be mechadesh, shezoicha lechadesh behem, that they can find inner depth in the halachas. They can unpackage what the inner or of the halachas are. They're not changing the halacha. It's still the same ox and the same donkey. But what was the Torah really trying to tell me? What did Hashem want? Only a guy that's got oxes and donkeys should make sure that he doesn't, work them together? Or maybe there's something much more much deeper, much more profound for you and I in 2025, Tavshin Pei Hey, that's hyper relevant. Maybe that's a halacha inside of me. There's an ox inside of me, there's a donkey inside of me. Maybe that's a whole world view of what Yishmael means, what Esav means, what Eitzadas Toivara means. Pu'ulas Mishtanas. Not spinning out of control, that I can't get back to the Akdas HaPashut.
It's like a Jew and non-Jew. Like the Yetzer Hara, Yetzer Tov.
So, and what does it mean that I can't work them together? What does work mean? Why can't I work them together? What does it mean in Evid? What do the 6 days of the week mean? What is Shabbos? And you start seeing that there's inner light in these halachas. So that's what Rav Nachman means. It's also applying it, but it also means what's the chiddush? Because when you start learning deeper, Rav Nachman is going to tell us that you get something called seichel and daas. And like Rav Nachman was teaching me yesterday, this whole Torah is about daas. The entire Torah Beis in Tinyon is all daas. That's one of the themes to keep in mind as we go through the entire Torah, Be'in. It's all about daas. It's all about daas. So if this type of chiddush and halacha that we're talking about now, of unpackaging the inner light, you think Hashem, the only reason why we put our right shoe first and then our left shoe is just because it's like a check mark to get close to God, because you're going to put your shoes on anyway. Just do it in the way. Or what's right? What's left? What does that mean? What is din? Why do I tie down the din first? Why don't I tie my right shoe first? What if I have Velcro? Do I also have to Velcro the left one first?
Yeah.
Does Velcro have a din of a lace? Is it like 1,000 mini laces? You know how Velcro works? It hooks in. You're being machadish and halacha. Oh, both the application, let's call it, that would be, we have to deal with Velcro. When Velcro was created, does it have a din of a lace? So I need to understand, vos is a lace? What was the inner meaning of the halacha? What is a lace? Does that apply to a Velcro? So I have to know how to apply it. But then I have to think, what's a lace? What's a shoe? What is a shoe? What's up with shoes? Why is it such a big deal to have shoes? And Chazal talk about shoes. You should sell the beams of your house before you go around without shoes. What's up with that?
You walk in the way of mitzvah with their shoes.
Okay, yeah, but why did God make shoes? Why do I have 2 legs? You start, what is the ore of the halacha? And this is endless. You never change the halacha, but you go into the ore. You're machadesh behem. You start finding the ore of the halacha. You start walking around thinking about these things. What's up with walking? Even your whole body. Hashem gave us tefillin because we have an arm? Or Hashem made arms because we need tefillin? What's up with an arm? Chaim Kramer, who should be very healthy, b'siyata d'shmaya, wrote an amazing sefer, The Anatomy of the Soul, which is all Reb Nachman's Torahs. Like we always talk about, Reb Nachman takes you into your body more than any tzaddik ever that I saw. He takes you into thinking about your body a lot. And that finding the ore in this kli that Hashem gave us. And how the mitzvahs are so much to do with the body. So now we're being mechadesh in halacha. And then Reb Nachman brings a chazal, which says, B'bechinas, kol hashoyna halachas b'chol yoyim. We say it every day. Anybody who learns halacha every single day, muftach lo shehu ben olam haba. It's muftach. It's promised that he is a ben olam haba. So first of all, what's Reb Nachman bringing that halacha for? This chazal. Anybody who learns halacha every single day, what's every single day? And how does that work within the entire Torah? Maybe I just learn halacha. Why every day? Now it's obvious here that you see a connection from Chazal that halacha and olam haba are connected. Because anybody who learns, it doesn't say anybody who learns Gemara, anybody who gives tzedakah every day. There's a lot of things that make a person a ben olam haba, but Reb Nachman brought halacha, kol hashani halachas. I definitely see a connection to halacha. What's the connection now back to Toda? And saying thank you and appreciation. You start weaving everything together. What do you feel when you see this chazal? Kol hashoyna halachas b'chol yoy muftach lo yishu ben lamad. We say these words, but what does it feel? I learn halacha every day. Rav Nachman was very big into learning halacha. He said that a Jew should have a seder in halacha every day. And go through the entire Shulchan Aruch. And then what do you do when you finish? Go back to the beginning. I told you guys that Rabbi Chimar has a seder. He's many sedar. But one that I enjoy watching is right after Shachris. He has a giant Shulchan Aruch, 1 volume. And a Rambam, 1 volume. And he just reads. I call it the Am Haaretz bazooka. It's just Shulchan Aruch, just go. And he just reads, and he's just going through Shulchan Aruch. That's one of his Sadarim, I'm sure, in Shulchan Aruch. That a Yid should always have a Seder in Shulchan Aruch, going through everything. Always being involved. B'chol yom mamish. Should we accept that? This is also something, as you're learning, you start thinking, should I be makabel? Likely I should. We were given something also called Lakutei Eitzos, which are all the practical things that we learn out from the Torahs. That a person learning this, based on everything we're talking about, that I want to be a ben olam haba, and I want to be someone that's appreciative, and I want to be somebody that has the pleasures of the world to come. So now Reb Nachman is saying that I should be somebody that's learning halacha every single day. Chazal's telling me that, but Reb Nachman is like opening up the ore of what Chazal were saying. He's trying to give me Chazal in a way that will get me to the desired destination. And therefore, practically, what would that look like? I think everybody should think today. Can I accept upon myself a Seder in Shulchan Aruch, Mishnah Berurah, Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, Yabia Omer, Rabbi Vadia, whatever it is, Ben Ish Chai, that every day, the Ben Ish Chaim, this is exciting for me, that every day I'm learning a halacha. Maybe you should make that seder before bed. I don't go to bed until I move my little sticky note to the next halacha. Every day, no matter what. Don't move the sticky note on Shabbos. There are problems. But you move it after Shabbos. But every day I don't move without a halacha before bed. That's a very reasonable thing to be makabel, bli neder. You can makabel. I want to be a shoyna halachas b'chol yom. Why is it not called a loimed halachas? What's a shoyna halacha? These are questions, and you see, it's beautiful that they put all this space here. You could write all your questions down, all your insights. Anything that comes up, part of learning the Likutei Moharan is all of the organic questions and the diyukim, like we talked about in the Chai Klalim, the 18 ways of getting into the kishkas of Reb Nachman, is that everything has to be thought about. Every word has to be thought about. And just finishing the paragraph, Ki kashin is chadesh halacha, when you have a chiddush in halacha, which is the or of what's up with shoes. What's with the left shoe? What's up with an ox? Why is it an ox and a donkey? And you have a chiddush of the or, that gives you something called nischadesh seichel v'yediyah. What's the difference between seichel and yediyah? Seichel and Daas. Dea bina v'haskel. Chochma bina v'das. What is seichel? What's yediyah? Das we've been speaking. What's seichel? V'hadas hi ikr shashu olam haba. And the ikr pleasure of the world to come is das. So what did we see today, my dear friends? We spoke about that the world to come is an experience of das. Ki malei ha'aretz de'es Hashem, kamayim liyam mechasim. What's the connection from the first part of the pasuk to the last part of the pasuk? It's going to be das. And some of the Chevera were talking about what the mayim means. What does that mean? That it's going to be its absolute coverage. It's going to be something which is filled with mystery. Only 5% has been uncovered. It's going to be as if it's going to be an endless journey of more and more depth and relationship into eternity. And then we spoke about that this is all toida. That toida is appreciation to the degree that I could appreciate somebody, I feel close to them. That's going to make me samuch and karav. I'm going to have das. I'm going to know them. And then we said that that's the pleasures of the world to come. It's just knowing God more and more for eternity. And then we said all of that is halacha. And we spoke about what halacha means and the inner light of halacha, of having a chiddush in halacha, unpackaging halacha, feeling that halacha is nothing dry, but it's rich. It's every second of my life. There's constant mitzvahs that I can connect myself to every moment, and that I become more free through learning halacha because I'm tapping into my godly soul and I'm becoming the Baal Shleimus. I'm owning that. I'm using Das to fuse into Hashem, that I'm choosing it. I'm able to connect with the power to a Kodesh Baruch Hu. That's the Chiddush in halacha. And then we said that this is Kol HaShoyna Halachas B'chol Yom. We opened that up, that a Yid should be learning halacha every single day, and not in a dry way, but in a way that I'm fusing myself to Hashem. And I want to have a chiddush in the halacha. I want to think about halacha. I want to walk around thinking about what is netilas yadayim from a kli. Why can't the kli have a crack? The water's still one on my hands. What is a kli? What does it mean to have broken vessels as opposed to a whole vessel? What is that? What's water? What is water? What are my legs? What's my arm all about? What's my hand all about? What is that? I have hands because, Hashem gave tzedakah because a guy's got a hand. Or no, I only have a hand because hands are meant to give tzedakah. If there was no mitzvah called tzedakah, there would be no hands in the world. It'd be an interesting world, no hands. What does that mean? I only have a finger here because I need to put tefillin on it. Maybe I would only have these many fingers if there was no tefillin. I have fingers because I need tefillin. Because there's tefillin. And you start finding chidushim in halacha. You start unpackaging halacha. You start learning lakutei halachas, which is the entire ore of what halacha is. And then you start learning lakutei halachas. and finding chidushim of the ore that Reb Nosson is bringing down. And these are the Torahs that were brought down from very, very high places, and they're here for you and I. Reb Nachman is a gift to humanity, for all of us, to fuse into this great ore. Like Reb Nachman told me yesterday, that Reb Nachman brought the Torah down to the lowest place. He said, I couldn't take it any lower. I brought it all the way down for humanity. But no matter how low you are, there's a light here that is for you, that you could grab a hold of, that this light will take you into the shashum of the world to come, which is where we all want to go. We should be zoicha, my dear friends, to the shashu olam haba, to learn halacha, to have halicha, to be able to go in the ways of Hashem, to have Yamalia arts, Daas Hashem k'mayim liyam lechasim. We should be zoicha mamish to the tikka b'shayfer gadol, mamish, that all the Yidden should come back, ma'arba kanfei sa'aretz. We should be zoicha mamish to the Shechina HaKadoshah, that v'secha zena ineinu b'shuvcha l'tzion b'rachanim, amen ve'amen. Oh, Yahu Asheinu, matoi lageinu, manayim go'alei, ay, 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 Yahu Asheinu, matoi, ay, manayim go'alei, la, 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 Sheinu Adovake Umanayim Galeinu Ya Sheinu Adovake Umanayim Galeinu Shachris.